Can you talk about the difference between what's a cult and what's a community?
That's a really good question, Seth. The reason put that in the book is because the book that I wrote explicitly acknowledges that the wisdom that's in the book has been used for well over 1,000 years in spiritual traditions to bring people together around shared values and purpose and bring them together in such a way that they have greater resilience facing life's challenge. And someone who doesn't understand how religion works might say, well, whoa, whoa, if we're using these ideas that spiritual traditions have been using, aren't we just creating a cult? And so I wanted to have a chapter that said, wait a minute, let's be more clear about what makes a cult and what are just simply good principles that bring people together. First of all, we need to acknowledge that the way people use the term cult varies widely. If a cult is just simply people who like to gather and do things together that others don't like to do, wear similar clothes and have their own kind of sense of humor, then every high school band in America would be a cult. So a cult isn't just because people think similarly, dress similarly, and like to do things together that people don't like to do. There's more to it than that.
Okay, that's useful to know. And in the book, you actually go an extra step and you say that we are talking about harmful cults. So explain what you mean by that.
Talking about groups that come together and they have very specific character that when people get involved, it can be harmful to them in their social lives, in their financial lives, even their family lives. So, for example, Seth, when we're looking at a harmful cult, one of the things we're looking for is growing the membership of the group, the highest priority, and in some cases, the biggest priority, which is to say, serving the people who are members, helping members grow in some way is either not the top priority or it's a very low priority. And often that comes with that when the number one priority of your group is just to get more members, there's deception involved because there isn't a priority in ensuring people who are participating grow in some meaningful way. Another red flag we can look for when we're trying to recognize if a group is a harmful cult is does the leadership of the cult have accountability to some kind of moral structure other than themselves? So when we look, for example, at mainline religions, there are several layers of hierarchy in authority so that if someone commits wrongdoing within the organization, at least in theory, in structure, there are people that can hold them accountable. To be fair, there are a lot of examples where those structures did not do their job and people were negligent in calling out bad behavior. But nonetheless, the organization doesn't allow any one leader to just ignore all rules of propriety, legal rules, or ethical standards. And that includes holding people accountable, the organization, to the laws of the land in which they live, as opposed to rejecting all that. The third red flag that I'll mention here, where we can recognize that these principles of belonging are used in a way that's creating a harmful cult, is it's very difficult for members to leave the group. Whereas in all the communities that you and I are talking about, Seth, or we want to be a part of, as soon as we recognize that the community isn't actually growing according to values that we want to grow in, or we are uncomfortable with the actions they're taking, we just leave. And it's as simple as that. There may be friends in that group that may call us and encourage us to come back and want to see if amends can be made, but we are not coerced into staying. When we look at harmful cults, very often they structure it in such a way where it's very difficult for someone to leave financially, or there's threat of, say, blackmail if they leave. So those are three things that we can look for that are not part of what we're talking about in using very old ideas used in spiritual traditions to bring people together around shared values and purpose.
It's worth pointing out here that people are often members of more than one community. And I was thinking of this as you were talking about, hey, look, there's a community here, but there's also a larger, community or society that they're part of where there are rules. Can you talk about, maybe the tensions or how these different communities that people can be part of at the same time coexist with each other?
Well, I don't know if there needs to be tension. I mean, I'm just thinking my own life. I'm definitely part of a group of parents here in Berkeley that support one another and inform one another and help out with childcare. I'm also part of a pretty robust mountain adventure community, and I train with people in that group, and I travel with people in that group. And then I'm part of a group of authors and experts who are trying to get a message out in a world that's in a lot of pain and learning how to use new technology and try to say things and create media that resonates in a way that will provide service to people who are looking for it. I don't think there's a tension between those things. Obviously, I have to choose where I can invest my time, but I know that those are all different communities that I'm participating in because they serve different parts of my life. All three of those communities I just mentioned to you are helping me grow to be more effective, maybe more powerful, maybe more comfortable with the activities I want to do that I do with each of those communities: mountain sport, parenting, and being a writer and an expert in our time.
All right. So then, is it a red flag when you see a community that is blocking your participation in other communities? Is that something that comes up?
It's one of the red flags of a harmful cult is that they don't want members to have strong relationships, and in the worst cases, any relationships outside of that group. Whereas in a healthy community, if we're in a podcasting media community, Seth, I know that you have a family. I know that you do sport. I know that you have hobbies, and you're going to spend time and hopefully develop really rich relationships in those areas of your life as well. As soon as I tell you that you're a bad person, or everyone outside of our community is a bad person, and so you should spend virtually all, or in fact, all of your time with us, that is definitely a red flag. Said differently, as I write it in the book, in a healthy community, we understand that the community exists within a dynamic world, and our activities in our community should, in aggregate, serve other people in this dynamic world, and not just pretend that we have the only way of living or that our activities are the best way and everyone should emulate us.